आज कौन सा CTF करने वाले थे?
So we have deployed the machine, and we're going to continue from where we left off yesterday. Actually, we'll have to do a few steps again, then we can continue. Okay, so this is the IP for our target. Again, let's copy it, paste it here. Maybe it is not up and running yet. It can take a few minutes for these systems to deploy. We had found the user.txt flag yesterday, and privilege escalation part is left. Okay, and so this was the password for the Alice account. One nine nine dot 153. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, there was a space here by mistake. Yes, this is a password that we've copied, and we should be able to access it now. Okay, we are logged into the system, so we are Alice in Wonderland now. Now what we did was, so not KS, I meant to write LS there. So we made changes to this walrus and the carpenter.py. Actually, we did not really make changes. We just created a new Python file dot py, and what we did was simply now we do sudo -l to get the command. This is what we need to run. Let's just copy this. sudo -u because we want to run this as rabbit. So now we are rabbit at Wonderland, and we are currently in Alice's directory. Let's change to the previous one, Alice. So now we have 4 user directories here. And as of now, we only have access to the Alice directory, which does not really contain anything else of use to us, and of course to our own directory as well. You can also check what groups you have access to, but we only have access to this one group. We are only a member of one group, so that's the only directory that I can access. So cd rabbit ls, and there is a file called tea party here. If I just check what file type this is, so this is an executable, and it says it's a set uid file. Let's check that as well. Okay, so it is indeed a set uid file, and it has the permissions of root. Okay, now let's try executing the file. Let's see what it does first. Welcome to the tea party. The Mad Hatter will be here soon, probably by. Okay, this is just giving you some random time. Ask very nicely and I'll give you the tea. Whatever you type here does not really matter. It's just going to say segmentation fault. So now what we can do is we can try to take a look at the code. It's strings. Okay, strings is not really installed on this system. Okay, so we can also just cat it out and try to figure out anything that might be readable. So this is basically giving us the content of this file. And is there anything that you can find here that might be useful to us?
I think they specified the directory.
Pardon?
They specified the directory. The Mad Hatter will be here soon.
Oh,
In
that's just,
Echo.
and that's just bin echo. Echo is just used to print something out to the screen. So when
Yeah,
we,
okay.
okay, so when we ran this, you see this was all being printed, right? So that's just used to print that to the screen, nothing else.
Okay, okay.
But you are close to what the actual useful thing in this line is. Can you figure it out? Okay, see, read this part carefully. So it says the Mad Hatter will be here soon. Okay, that is not of use to us. Probably by, and then this, and there is this double ampersand, and there is this system command known as date. So it gives you the date. Now, is there any way we can use this to our advantage?
Yeah, maybe they already specified the date. 4th December 2020. Oh, no, no, no.
The date is not specified,
No, 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 no.
it is not
Yeah,
hard
yeah, yeah,
coded. It's okay.
yeah, yeah.
So when it's saying probably by and it's running this date command. Okay, so this is a system command called date.
Yeah.
So can we use this to our advantage?
How, sir?
See, what did we do in the previous, like the previous privilege escalation that we did? We basically,
Started a Python.
yeah. So if we did not do this, like when it was running normally, it was importing the random library, which is a part of Python. But we created our own file and we placed it in the same directory as the original program so that it would load our file instead, because the first thing it does is it looks in the current directory. Now, of course, for these kind of executables, it's not going to look in the current directory, but if a system command exists, then it is going to use that. So what we
Okay.
are going to do here is we are going to create our own file, our own version of this date file. And then what we are going to do is we are going to add the directory where this file is to our path.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so if I talk about this directory, I don't really have access to create any new files here. I don't really have any permissions to create new files. But what is one directory where we always have permissions to create and modify files on any system? The temp
Oh,
directory.
okay,
No,
temp,
not
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
In temp you can, so let's go to temp, cd temp. Okay. Now if I try to create a file called date. Okay, so it's allowing me to create it. Now what I want to do here is similar to what we did in the Python file. We just want to get a shell. So now in order to get that shell, we just need to type bash. But I need to add something else first. I need to add the shebang, because we need to tell the system that you need to run this file with bin bash. Since I'm not going to give it an extension, I'm not going to say that this is a script, I'm not going to give it the .sh extension. So I need to specify this. And again, in the other line, I'm going to write bin bash. So I'm going to exit, save, file name to write is date, ls.
So then what is the use of null directory?
Null directory is that is kind of a file. Anything that is sent to that file is discarded.
Okay,
Okay, so uh, that's not really something that that's not like a directory. It's a null device is called, or a null file you can call it. Anything that is written there is discarded from the system.
okay,
So when we run some commands and we know that we are bound to get a significant number of errors, so we write those errors to the null directory so that we don't have to see them on screen.
okay.
Okay, so so the file is here now. uh, okay, now what we want to do is We want to
Need to
change.
edit the file.
No, file is done. We want to change the value of path. So we want to add temp to the beginning of our path. Okay. 'Cause- okay, what is up with this shell now? It's not really working properly. The shell is not working correctly now.
Sir, can't we edit the file?
Pardon?
Can't we edit the file?
The Tea Party program?
Yeah. This one, the date.
No, we won't be able to edit that.
Okay.
Look at the permissions for it. I don't have any write permissions. Only root has write permissions on that file.
Okay. So you are just changing the environment variable of the date.
We are changing the environment variable for the entire system. It's not just for the date.
Okay.
What I want to do is I want to make sure that when the system looks for this date program, my custom date file is the one that it finds first. I want to make
Okay.
sure of that. Okay, so there is something wrong with this shell. I'll have to disconnect and connect. If it is written that you can run the following commands on Wonderland, then you have to use the exact command. You can't just say Python walrus and carpenter.py. You have to run the exact command. Otherwise, it is not going to work. Oh, yeah, forgot to paste it. Habitat Wonderland. And okay, echo dollar path. The temp was not added to it. Okay, so we'll need to just do that. So for that, I need to use export equal to, because we need to add temp to the beginning. So that's why I'm writing temp first and dollar path. Now again, I can echo temp is at the beginning. So when we execute tparty, this should run now. Okay, we need to go to what directory are we in? Okay, we are in Alice. So I need to go to Rabbit. Okay, not working. Let's check out whether there's an issue with the date file. The date file is there. Okay, it's not executable. Let me just grant it executable permissions. Now let's go back to home Rabbit and let's just execute this. Okay, so you see what happened here. Welcome to the tea party. Mad Hatter will be here soon, and probably by after that get Hatter at the rate Wonderland.
Okay.
So now what we need to do is again I need to go to his directory less. So this is the password for this account. Let's just copy this and SSH Hatter. So this means that we have a proper shell on the system now. Let's see whether there's something to be done with sudo l. Okay. So Hatter may not run sudo on Wonderland. Okay, so what else can we try?
Can check root directory permissions.
Root directory permissions, but see in root directory, we've already gone through that root directory. See, we got the user.txt there.
Okay.
Remember, it said everything is upside down here. So the user flag was in this root directory. The root flag is in the Alice directory. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
the root flag is not here. It's in the Alice directory. Now, the first thing we can do is we can check for setuid binaries, which might be there. Find permissions u is equal to s, so not d, s, type f, error should be redirected to null device.
Sir, what is equal U is equal to S means?
Means we are looking for setuid files.
Setuid. Okay, okay.
Now, out of these, do you see anything that we might be able to use here?
Maybe group password.
No, those are all default system binaries. Those are not going to help us.
Okay. So I think first two will help.
First, which one's this one? No,
Yeah.
again, this is the system binary. It's not going to help us. See, in this
Okay.
case, there are no setuid files that we'll be able to use. Now, there is something in Linux that we have not discussed or used in any of the previous, you know, any of the previous CTFs that we've worked on.
Okay.
So, what we can do is there is something known as the concept of capabilities in Linux. Okay, so they are just security measure. So it's somewhat similar to permissions, but it's not really. It's not exactly the same.
So one
So
more time, sir.
there is the concept of capabilities. Okay, Linux capabilities. Okay, that's
Okay.
another measure you could say that exists in Linux. So
Okay.
when an executable file is created, you can give it some kind of special capabilities, or you could say it is another way, or it is another kind of permission that you give to it. But you cannot give
Okay.
this kind of thing to all files, just to executables.
Okay.
And okay, so if you are having a text file, you cannot give it a capability. So even there is a capability called setuid. So we can look for that. And what I am trying to do is I'm going to try and look for files with which have capabilities set on them. So I'm just going to say get cap. This is the command for finding out these capabilities. Hyphen R. I want to look in this main. I want to start from the main directory, and again I'll redirect my errors. So let's try this, and we receive three files here. Okay, so this second one is basically useless, but the first and third ones are basically Perl executables. Okay, so Perl is again another language that is quite extensively used in applications. So what I'm going to do is now with Perl, if I want to find out what to do next, so I can think of, let's say, there is this website known as GTFO bins. So it can tell you how you can utilize any file to get this kind of get this kind of shell, or how you can use any executable that you find, how many different ways you have of using it. So do I just want a shell? No. Do I want a reverse shell? No. Am I using SUID? No. Sudo? No. Capabilities? Okay. So this is what we want to use. If the binary has a cap Linux cap setuid capability set, which is true, so we can use it to create a privileged access. So all I need to do is I need to use this one command. So I'll simply paste that here. Okay, so dot slash Perl is obviously not going to be a directory.
So I think it came down.
Again, I don't know what is up with this shell. It's just need to keep this. Just copy this. I think I'll just SSH with a fresh shell here. Oh, okay. See, as soon as you type this, it goes like it gets completely confused. What is it doing? This is how many times you have to exit based on how many privilege escalations you have run. Okay, logged in. Now copy this and just make one change to it before running. I'll just make that change on my own command line. I don't have a shell. Dot slash is only used if it is in the current directory. Otherwise, you just use it directly. So we have shell. Let's check who we are right now. Okay, we have a shell as root. Now, if I want, I can escalate this to a proper Python shell. Okay, my bad. Now we have a proper shell. So we'll go to home, Alice, and we get root.txt since it was present in the Alice folder, Alice directory. Sorry.
Okay.
So this is our flag. This is the root flag. So once you find the root flag, you're done. And with regards to solving the challenge, just paste it here and we'll have finished it. So we can now terminate this and we are done with it. Okay, so any questions here?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So that basically concludes our CTFs. Now there's just a couple more things to talk about and then we'll be done with the course. So, like I mentioned, one thing that is important when it comes to performing a test is writing reports. Now, of course, there will be some variation in reports written by different people because there is no one standard format that the entire industry is following.
Okay.
But I'll show you a sample report, which is okay. So you can get the basic kind of idea, like what kind of stuff is included in it. So this is a sample report. Now, of course, you will not find any actual penetration testing reports anywhere because that data is confidential. So a real report is not going to be revealed to you anywhere unless you are the tester or the client. You will not be having access to any other reports. Okay, so this is just the kind of thing you'll see with this. Uh, then you'll have a table of contents, executive summary, just a few basic things that the organization was contracted by the client to conduct a test, and okay, some basic things that you mentioned that the assessment was conducted in accordance with the recommendations outlined in this standard. Okay, they mentioned this kind of standard because it is a universal standard for this thing. Again, this would depend on what your employer has told you to include. Summary of results. So this is a brief summary that they've mentioned. So they've said that these were the steps they used, these were the vulnerabilities they found, and they've given a very brief summary of the entire thing. Then they've sort of gone through the process, and like we saw in the theoretical part on the first day, you also need to include some kind of screenshot, some evidence to show your work. Of course, not everything will be included as a screenshot, but whatever you find is relevant, that okay, this should definitely be a part of the report. I should definitely include this if it's a major issue or a major configuration problem. All of that you should include as a screenshot as well.
Okay.
You see, in a report, screenshots are very essential, because it makes it easier for the person who is reading it. Okay, so they can understand better what you're trying to tell them. If you tell them that this vulnerability exists, okay, they might understand the entire thing. They might be a little confusion. But if you include a screenshot showing that, okay, this is what I did, this is the kind of result that I got, it becomes much easier for the other person to understand this, understand what the issue was. So that's why we can use these kind of things. We can use screenshots. In this case, they've even created a target networks diagram, so a basic rudimentary diagram for the target network. Okay, so they've done this for different vulnerabilities. So you can divide your report. Okay, make a separate uh, case for each vulnerability that you found, include screenshots for it. So again, this is just same thing. So after all of that, they have given a conclusion. So they mentioned the goals. They said that the goals were met, and we were able to figure out that uh, a targeted attack could result in a complete compromise. Again, that depends on what your results were. So they've given a conclusion here and recommendations to fix the issues that were found. So ensure that strong credentials are used, because maybe they found some issue where weak passwords were being used. Like common passwords like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 ABCD. These are examples of some very weak passwords. So that is definitely not helpful. And okay, so similarly for other things as well, for other issues, they have given recommendations to fix those issues. And overall risk identified was high because there were a lot of issues which could be exploited and cause severe loss to the company. And there's just this appendix if you want to include it. Again, now this is a sample report. You don't have to do exactly the same thing as is mentioned here. So what they've done is for each vulnerability, they have mentioned whether the risk is high or not. They mentioned the description, they mentioned the impact and the remediation as well.
Okay.
And then the next thing is they've written just another appendix about their own company. So I'm pasting this link in the chat. You can take a look at it whenever you like. But again, keep in mind, you don't have to follow the exact same report format. It's going to differ for you according to what you make, or if you work as a penetration tester in a company, then you follow the format that your company is using.
Sir, if we find a new vulnerability, how to report that? Means how to register the CV? Those number used to be there now.
Yeah, CV. Okay. So in order to register a CVE, you need to go to this MITRE.org website. So you need to like go to that website and request a CVE ID.
Okay.
Okay, I'm giving you a PDF which uh, details this in a better way.
Okay.
So linking to that here in the chat, I mentioned it.
Yes, sir.
So you need to request a CVE ID and you need to fill out a form.
Okay.
So there are quite a few things involved. Okay, you need to see whether it is public or not. And there is a form, CVE form, that you need to fill out. Okay, so that was our report writing covered as well. And there's just one more thing we'll talk about. Okay, when you practice, okay, first practice for a while on Try Hack Me. Download different machines that may find interesting on one hub. After you have built up some confidence, okay, I have some practice, and start going to hack the box.
Okay.
And in order to access the website, you need to have an invite code. An invite code is not something that anyone else can send you. Every person's use invite code is unique, and they say, "Hi, feel free to hack your way in." So you need to find it out by yourself. Okay, so you need to hack your way to the invite code. So try to figure that out. Try to do this, and I would recommend that you try to do this manually without looking up the solution, because it is a fun little challenge. And okay, so once you find the invite code, you will be able to sign up, and then you can practice on a website. But don't start practicing with hack the box. Start with try on, like, we've done a few CTFs, so you know a few ways to hack, you know techniques, you know the basic concepts. So try using them on other websites as well. After a little bit of practice, then start with hack the box. Or you can start
Okay.
right now if you want, but it's going to be a little difficult.
Yeah, they have only 20 machines, right? Latest machines.
Pardon?
20 latest machine they used to have, no, sir. Hack the
Yes,
box.
yes. Other machines, like machines regularly get retired.
Yeah,
So
old machines. Okay.
old machines, you need to like have a VIP subscription to access them.
Hmm.
But the active machines you can access anytime, like with a free subscription, with a free account as well.
Okay. Sir, any website to find CT of competitions?
CTF competitions. Okay, there is a website for that called ctftime.org. So on this website, you can find upcoming events, upcoming CTFs. You can go, you can register for those, and other details are given. Like you can find the write-ups for past CTFs. You can find team rankings and stuff.
Okay.
So if you have a few people who might be, like, if you find a few people who might be ready to form a team with you, then you can register as a team here. You can participate in events together. So for looking up information regarding upcoming CTS, this is one of the best websites, CTF Time. Actually, not one of the best, it is the best everywhere. This is used everywhere. So you can use this, ctftime.org. I'll just paste this in the chat as well. Okay,
Okay. Sir.
so that basically brings us to the end of our course. Now, if you have any questions or at all from the entire course, feel free to ask.
No questions, sir.
Nothing, no doubts.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you practicing as well?
Yes, sir. The exam was there. So
Okay,
from today I need to practice.
okay, definitely do that. And see, with penetration testing, always remember that there will be times you feel like you'll get stuck, but don't worry about that. Keep trying. Sometimes it's okay to look for hints and stuff when you're just beginning, because there are a lot of things you come across in this field that might be new. Okay, because there is a vast amount of information to learn, to gain in this field. So okay, this can seem a little difficult at first, but keep practicing. and uh, be very regular with this. If you just practice like once a month, then it's not going to help you.
Okay.
Okay. Anything
Sir, do
else
we need to mail you, sir, about completion?
about what course completion?
Yeah.
And what did the counselor tell you to do that?
Yeah, I used to do for both the course, CCN and CEH.
Yeah, you can mail. Okay.
Okay.
So if you did that for other courses, okay, you can do that.
Okay.
If there's anything else at all, feel free to ask. And even later on, if you feel like there's something you want to ask, you can get like about or something you like to discuss.
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Good luck.
Yes. Bye.
Amit, is there something you'd like to say?
Yes, sir. I'm having a little issue. Actually, I like dual booted my system, and
Your
now
volume is very low, Amit. Like it seems like you're speaking from far away. Could you please change?
is this fine now?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, so I dual booted my system,
Hmm.
and now from yesterday it is happening. So my laptop I shut down properly, and I like before shutdown I run that command apt get update and upgrade.
Right.
So after like I shut it down properly, and when I again started, it is starting properly
Hmm.
and coming to the point where it asks for username and password.
Right.
Once I enter the username and password, it is till that point it is like booting in graphical mode, and once I enter the password, after that like it come into the only CL, that bash is coming only,
Okay.
nothing like it is coming. Not the multi-user mode, actually it is coming
Hmm.
in graphical mode, but only after login only that bash is opening. So I'm able to move the mouse cursor, and there are options coming on the bash window like file preferences and all these things,
Hmm.
but apart from that I can't see anything.
Would it be
And
possible to for you to share the screen right now?
uh, no, like can't share right now is okay. Let me show from this.
You are using which version of Linux?
I'm using the Kali one.
Kali. Okay.
Share screen, start now. Can you see my screen, sir?
Yes. Yes, I can see.
How to start camera. And there is no meeting. Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Oh, oh. So, to progress now. Okay. It is booting in like GUI mode.
Hmm.
There it is. Only this bash is coming, nothing else is coming.
Okay, nothing else is visible on screen. Okay. Okay, you can stop sharing now. I'll see what I can find. It appears like this might be an issue with recent versions of Kali. Okay, try running the command start x.
Capital
Just
X, na?
no, no, small. Everything is small. Start x. Just it's one word itself. There's no spaces.
Start X command not found.
Command not found. Okay.
Hmm.
Then try this one. Okay, I'll be pasting a couple of commands in your
Chat.
in the chat. So just
apt install genome GDM3.
you might have to add sudo if it does not work. If you're not root. So, did you try that?
Yes, sir. I run it, but it is like it will take time.
Okay.
It is showing
But the
14
command ran
minutes.
properly, right? It didn't
Yes,
show
yes.
errors.
Command is
Okay.
running.
So after this finishes, try rebooting after this. See whether it. This is like you started getting this error after you updated, right? Before it was working fine.
Yes.
Okay.
After update, after update it was fine, but after start, that restart kind of thing, after restart it is not working.
After restart is okay.
I reinstalled this GDM3 yesterday also, like maybe some issue with that one.
Okay.
Okay. There was suggesting like uh, we can try to reinstall the hardware driver, like if there is NVIDIA hardware driver or read-on hardware driver for AMD processors.
Hmm.
So we can try that also, but this also didn't work.
Because the driver might not be the issue in this case.
Okay.
The recent versions of Kali have been having more issues than the previous versions. Previous ones were slightly more stable. This year, every major Linux release has issues. Okay, just excuse me, I need to answer the doorbell. Okay, so did it finish?
No, sir, not yet.
Okay.
Showing like somewhat 23 minutes.
20. Oh, okay.
This I think like will take time. We can sign off for the day if you want.
But we won't be having any more sessions, so
Okay, not an issue if it like it will not work. I will reinstall the Kali again.
and that is also an option always, but then your data you may lose.
Data.
So take your backups.
No, I think there's nothing like data. Only things like I downloaded VMs and installed that VirtualBox and VMware. So these things
Hmm.
need to install again. Those like vulnerable machines need to be downloaded again. Mr. Robot and Metasploitable. These like need to download these machines again.
Okay, let me see. Let me look for a link that I could give you regarding this. Okay, one is this on the Kali forums. Okay, I'll see it. Okay, so Amit, I've given you one link, and there's also another one which might be helpful.
Copy 400 Kali. Okay.
There is another link which I've pasted in chat.
Uh-huh. I think these two are same.
Same. Let me check.
46656.
Okay, my bad. I posted the same link twice.
Okay.
You're not getting any login loops, right? That is not the issue.
No.
Okay. So try this. I think this should this GDM3 one should mainly do the trick for you.
Okay.
Okay, so you try this. It should mainly fix the problem.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can look for similar fixes. Just say, that you can't get the GUI after
Okay.
Kali update.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
so because this uh, installation can take some time, so I have to take another batch as well.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.